been on Broadway, been in movies, all kinds of, and knows the best diners to go in New Jersey for great pancakes. So thank you. Thank you for being here, Tommy. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, Lee, you're the best. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to even just talk with you. This is so exciting for me. Anytime I get to talk with you is exciting to me.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, let me introduce the gang to you.
Yes.
TJ and Garrett are the founders and owners, along with our producer, who's invisible, Ruben, Agents of Fandom. And I went on one of their podcasts, and this is how this all came about. And then Emma is their executive queen of all the words, because they have all these
I love
beautiful
that.
well, I'm giving you a title. I mean, why not?
Works for me.
Hold on, I gotta update that on the website real quick.
Okay, good.
Executive
Good
queen of words. All right, we're good.
I honestly love that.
But they built a huge, they've got a great community about Marvel fandom, and then they went into other kinds of things, which is our reality show that we're trying to build up. And also they have Agents of Change, which they are doing things that are trying to make the world a better place. So this community is amazing, incredible. I'm so glad to be a part of it. And so we're so glad you're here. I mean it.
That was great introductions all around.
Absolutely.
That was pretty damn good, Luke. I
Yeah.
think that, hey, everybody.
I don't even know what to say now because I feel like I'm just gonna lower your opinion of me based on what Leah said. So, but Tommy, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Garrett. I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting.
A
We're
little known fact before we get into it. The three of them had never watched Big Brother until this season.
Wow.
and Tommy's a super fan like me. I mean, did you continue watching after your season? Did you continue on?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I continued watching on, but not only that, I couldn't get enough of it, so I went back and rewatched old seasons like from the very beginning that I had already seen, but it had been like 10 years for some of them. So I was like, it's time to rewatch them. That's where I was at.
That's how I feel. I'm watching Big Brother Canada now since it's available. I forget which. I think it's Paramount Plus it's on that. So I'm watching everything. I
actually want you have to tell me which seasons are great, which to start with, because I haven't started Canada yet, but I heard it's great.
We're pretty great.
So far, pretty great
out here
pretty
in
great.
Canada. We do good stuff. Good stuff comes from Canada. Big Brother Canada, me, universal healthcare. It's all
All of it's on the same level.
Yeah, I was just gonna say 3 equivalent things from Canada. We love them all.
So Tommy and Lee, from a super fan and reality TV expert perspective, and from somebody who was on the season live, we haven't seen season 21 yet. Take us through the recap of what it was like for you there, and then Lee, what it was like as a super fan watching.
There you go.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was just living my dream. Like I had grown up watching Big Brother. It was my favorite show from the minute that I started watching it. I was hooked, and I knew that I was supposed to be on it. I felt it like in my gut. And I would go and try out year after year. And they would say to me, we love you, but you're an actor. And we don't like actors. We want real people, real super fans.
Yeah.
And we don't want someone to pretend to be something. We want real people who are real super fans. So I had to keep going back. I think I went 4 or 5 times before they were finally like, oh my gosh, this kid again, like he was really not giving up. And then I was like, I am here to like show you that I'm not just the actor. Like you're getting to know me, the super fan, and I'm meant to be on this show. So I was just super persistent, and they wound up taking the bait, and they put me on the show, and I enjoyed every minute of it. It was truly a dream come true in every possible way. I got to live everything that I wanted to do throughout the season. except for win. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I didn't win, but
Thank you,
but
Jackson.
everything
Yeah. I know. Well, I was a fan
That's
of
amazing.
yours watching it. I mean, I know it was a controversial season, that
Yes.
happened. I think I think the dust has settled on that. I hope so, because I know there was some, the racial issues and all the things that happened, especially in the live feeds that people were picking up on. Who do you stay in touch with? I mean, I know Holly. I know you and Holly are tight.
Yeah.
And who else? Who else are you tight with? I'm sure not the entire cast, but
Well, to be honest with you, there's not many people that I don't talk to. And the people who I don't talk to, it's kind of on their terms, their choice. There's certain people that chose to just back away and they need to separate themselves, but that's a them decision that I totally respect. Um, but I've always been kind of known as the one that like kind of gets along with everybody and
Yeah.
really makes it an effort to just find the peace, find the good in the situation, and come to a common ground with people. This is reality TV. You know what? And that's something that, going back to the actor thing, I think growing up in the entertainment industry, you learn how to get along with all different types of personality. And I started at a young age. So I feel like that was a skill that I had going into this world, this reality TV world. Whereas most people on the show, they had no exposure to the entertainment industry prior. So they are just those regular people, like they were, like the casting say that they want in the tryout process. So I feel like in that aspect, being an actor, being in the entertainment industry kind of helped me, because there's really no one that I can't get along with, is kind of what it is. But with that said, I'm super close with Annalise, who is my partner on the new season of The Challenge that's happening right now. So we're a duo pair there. I'm super close with Christy, with Holly, with Nick, with Nicole, Ovi. And those are like the closest people I would say. And then everybody else talk to here and there.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. I love the pictures, everything you're posting, and I'm so excited about the challenge stuff. And I love the challenge, by the way. Yeah, love it. Love it,
Me
love it, love
too.
it.
Me
So
too. I was
I
just
love
gonna
it.
say we've been covering the challenge a little bit on this show. We have our main shows. For those who are tuning in for the very first time to the Ticket to Reality podcast, either on our live show, live on the Agents of Fandom Twitch and YouTube pages, or on the Ticket to Reality podcast feed, available wherever you get your podcasts. We've talked about the challenge before. We have our main shows we cover. First, it was Big Brother. Now it's going to be Survivor. And we each kind of have our own that we've been diving into that we cover individually. And Lee's been big on the challenge. This is you're diving back into the reality TV. What's going on in your world with the challenge that you're kind of allowed to talk about?
I mean, okay, so what I'll say is the challenge was way harder for me. Um, Coming into an environment where everyone already knows each other pretty much versus Big Brother, everyone is newbies usually, and you're all starting out together. It was very different coming into the challenge than it was Big Brother. Way harder. It's harder to break into a group that already exists. With that said, uh, additionally, the reason why it's a lot tougher is because what we do in a week in Big Brother, we do double time on the challenge.
wow.
There are 2 nominations per week, 2 challenges per week, 2 eliminations per week. It's essentially like doing a week's worth of Big Brother, double speed. So the ups and the downs are just, they mess with your head very quickly. It's exhausting to just be like, one day you're like, oh my gosh, I'm safe, my friend won. The next day someone goes home. The day after that you're back on the field
Wow.
competing, trying to win the daily challenge. So it's the ups and downs really, really are difficult to navigate, and they're tough to deal with for sure.
How good a swimmer are you? Because they always have swimming stuff. Are you pretty good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm good. I feel like
Okay.
for the most part, I'm pretty like solid at everything, I would say. Um, there's nothing that I'm like, ooh, yikes, but there's also nothing that I'm like, yeah, this is me. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see you. Oh, I'm excited about it. So, because I was excited seeing in this season all the reality people, and it's it was fun to watch, and so I'd like anytime I'm a fan of the challenge. I
Yeah,
would never go
it's
on
good.
it because
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, Lee, I would love if we were on it together. That would be
Oh,
Me
so
too.
great.
I would love
That
that.
would be so great. That's what I want to see. Me and you on the challenge together.
Do it, Lee. Come on.
No, what
Do
I
it.
want to
Do
what I want to
it.
see
Do
is
it.
Tommy and I being a catfish and sharing an apartment, and we have one personality that we're projecting, and we would crush it. But
That
Oh
would
my
be
Why
God.
fun.
not
that would be
both?
my dream.
We
Why not
so
True.
both?
would.
Well, see, in the circle, you sit in a room and you get to eat bonbons. You're not you're not
Sundays.
Yeah,
you're not
Sundays.
dragging chains around and climbing mountains with no. I'm like, oh. So yeah, I like the reality leisure competitions.
Yeah, I don't blame you, honestly.
Oh
Emma,
man.
you got to have a question for Tommy. I know you do.
Oh my God. So I know, like Lee said, me and Garrett and TJ were kind of new to Big Brother. What were your thoughts on this past season? Because it was a wild season. Even just not having much prior knowledge, it was a lot to watch.
So, okay. I first of all, I'm obsessed with this season. The
Yeah.
show is moving in a very different direction, and
Hmm.
I'm here for it. I really like it.
Hmm.
So, I would say my season was actually the turning point, is what I
Hmm.
would say. Because, Lee mentioned that it was a very controversial season. There was a lot of racism involved,
Yeah.
that was just, it came out, and it was what's the word I'm looking for? Unconscious bias is the,
Hmm.
the truth of it. People didn't always know what they were doing, and how it was being perceived, or how it would make people feel, why it was wrong. So there was a lot of learning and growing that came from my season, but
Yeah.
in a way, you got to watch it. I think it's a great season. I really do.
I do too.
But up until so season 21, prior to it, a lot of times, like, there was only one or two people of color in the cast, so they really didn't stand a chance in as far as winning. And if you look at the stats, a black person didn't win until season 23 of Big Brother. That's not by accident. That's because
Yeah.
they weren't given a fair shot, and also because of racism that is in the country, 100%, in society.
Yeah.
So what I will say is that our season was the turning point, and for that I'm grateful for it, because now we see these huge social issues coming into the game of Big Brother, and instead of running away from it and trying to smooth it over and just make it better and put a band-aid on it and just edit it out, CBS is embracing it. Last season we had an all-black alliance, which was the first. They made it to the top 6. They were the most successful cookout. They
We
were the
love the
most
cookout.
successful alliance in Big Brother history.
Yeah.
And they ensured that a black person won. And that was the first time that happened. This year, that didn't happen, but there was, again, a lot of racism that was in the house, a lot of bullying, and just a lot of social topics that exist in our society. They come out because when you're in the Big Brother house, it's society under a magnifying glass. So, sorry, this is like the longest tangent,
Oh my God,
but
no. We love your thoughts.
I just feel
That
like,
is why we got you here, my friend.
yeah. So, I feel like instead of running, you'll have some fans will say, I want it to be more about the gameplay, the savage gameplay. It's not, they're moving away from that. But I would argue that it's just embracing uh, a new angle to look at the game from. It's not just about the savage gameplay. in Taylor's case, who was on, I mean, you watched this season. Yes, I'm not spoiling it. So Taylor won this season. He played an amazing game, but
Yes.
there was also another angle that enhanced her game, and that was how far she came. And that was what she overcame, where she started, how she ended up, the fact that she is the first Black woman to win. This is not something that it's not like an excuse for her to win. It's more of a reason for her to win, if that makes sense, because it's just a different way of looking at the game. It's including what goes on in society. This game started off with season 1. They wanted to have all different contestants from different walks of life come together and just live together. There were no competitions. So I feel like in a way we're going back to its roots by embracing the issues that society faces and looking at them in the Big Brother house. Tangent done. I could go on and on, but I'll give it a beat.
Professor
No, I love
Tommy.
I
Really
think
well
that
said.
makes complete sense.
Yeah,
And
very.
the way you brought up how kind of crazy and intense the gameplay gets in Big Brother, or has gotten in the past, and they're kind of angling away from. I found that so interesting when I was watching this year too, because even though it's not as much as it has been, when I watched Big Brother, in contrast to having binged The Circle, it just kind of blew my mind how it's like if somebody's caught in a lie on The Circle, it's like, oh my gosh, we need to get rid of them immediately. Like, this is a happy family and there can't be any two-facedness, and if that gets caught, like, you're gone. When in Big Brother, it's like, of course I'm lying to them. That's what this game is. Like, I'm not going to tell them the truth. And so I found that so interesting how the gameplay contrasted so much. But I think that's interesting how that strategy could kind of flow into Big Brother, because making friends is a pretty good strategy in gameplay, because if people like you, they want to keep you around.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, that was kind of my strategy. I just wanted to get along with everybody and then see how far it could take me. But yeah, I just think that, even though we don't have the screaming, the yelling, the fighting, the way that we used to have 20 years ago in Big Brother, we live in a different time now. That's it. Things were okay back then that are not okay anymore. And that's okay. That is okay. It's progress. It's moving in a positive direction, I think. It's making change for the better. I also say that, with this season of Big Brother, this past one, that whole thing with Kyle that went down, I feel like I had so many conversations with people because they watched the show and they were watching that go down, and they were productive conversations. That conversation leads to positive change. So I actually feel like Big Brother is making a positive impact on the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to be talking about these issues. It's good to face them as opposed to just smoothing them over and pretending like they don't exist, which is kind of what was done up until season 21, I think.
I agree with you.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. Even just having something that's so in the public light, I think it really does create conversations. And I mean, I had a lot of conversations with my friends who are fans of the show, and we just had great conversations about it, talking about some of the things that, like the unconscious bias that Kyle was exhibiting and all of that. And I think it's just, so I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Yeah. And we still have that great gameplay too. Like, that's not to all this said is not to belittle the gameplay that was going on. I think Taylor played an incredible, perfect game. I think Monty played a great game. Turner played a great game. We had great gamers this season and last season, and that is including all of the issues that are introduced as far as racism, bullying, unconscious bias, whatever it may be. So we can have both, is what we're learning with this new age of Big Brother.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay,
Garrett,
tangent time, I promise.
Garrett, lighten us up. Give him a funny question. No,
All right.
I
I got a much more lighthearted question, but I think a good question nonetheless. So as a lifelong fan, as someone who watched, from a very young age, and then getting to be on the show, was there anything that was, one, a lot different than you expected it to be, and then two, something that was like maybe significantly harder than you expected it to be?
Good question. At this point, it's like 2019. It's almost like 4 years ago. It's kind
Yeah,
of hard
it was
to remember.
pre-COVID. I mean,
Yeah, God.
That's a different lifetime.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
really. We got out of the house, and like 5-6 months later, whatever it was, COVID hit, and we went back into lockdown.
Oh,
Yeah, really.
jeez.
Brutal.
And when you do Big Brother, you spend, I mean, at least when we did it, it was 99 days in the house. So then when you put time on either end of it, like quarantine on either end, it wound up being basically almost 4 months that we were locked away for the entire year. That's a third of the year we were locked away.
Wow.
And then we came out and went right back into quarantine again.
Oh my
So,
God.
but to answer your question, it was kind of exactly what I always dreamed. And like always, it really was what I thought it would be too. It was better because I was like living it and doing it, but all of like the, you know, the shininess of watching it on television, that still existed for me in person as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is Zingbot. I love Zingbot. How was that for you? I mean, I
Zingbot
thought
was
Zingbot was
hilarious.
amazing.
Amazing. Obsessed. I was obsessed with my Zing. I bought I had like a whole thing made about my Zing that I have on my wall in my other my parents' house. Yeah, it was so
Fabulous.
cool. It was amazing. It's so surreal. It's like you're all Marvel fans, Lee said. Can you imagine like
This-
being on set while they're filming a Marvel, like filming Guardians of the
Tommy,
Galaxy?
I cannot tell you how many times
would-
I've imagined that.
Like that's what it was
I would
like. It was
die.
like I am here. Like
Yeah.
they're filming Guardians of the Galaxy. That's exactly what it was like. Like I'm watching this being happening. I'm actually in the movie. So imagine you are in Guardians of the Galaxy 4.
That's like
what it
my
was.
favorite
getting
of
made
the
fun of.
trilogies, so I would die.
I will say back to your gameplay. I thought you played such a stellar plan because you came in really, I'll be the friend. You got in the big alliance. We don't care about the controversy. You got in there to protect yourself. And then kind of halfway point past, then you started playing and going for the wins. And I thought that is masterful play, you know, and had Cliff and I can't remember her name. Had they
Nicole.
Yes, had they had made the right decision, because I was rooting for you even before I met you. I was like, but you would have been past top 5. I and maybe even the chance to win, I think. But anyway, I thought your gameplay was masterful. I really did, as a super
Thanks.
fan myself.
Tommy, what did you
Thank
think
you.
of Lee's gameplay in the circle?
Oh Lord.
I think Lee was great. Lee was my favorite. I
Aw.
think I forget how we got in touch with each other. I'm pretty sure I reached out to you because
You did.
I just felt so drawn to him. You know, it kind of reminded me of myself. Like we kind of played similar games in that sense, that we were super happy to be there and it showed. And I always say that being and I think it works for Big Brother, the circle, the challenge. I always say that being good at these games is about knowing what makes you different, what makes you special, and learning how to turn that into a strategy. Like I couldn't go into the game and play Taylor's strategy. There's no like cookie cutter way to do it. You have to go in and play the strategy that speaks to you, that works with you and who you are. You turn who you are into a strategy to get to the end of the game. And I kind of felt like me and Lee were similar in that we know that we can get along with everybody. We're super positive, optimistic people. And that was the game that he played. And it was strategic. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And it's real. It's authentic. It is who he is. But he also knows how to turn that into a strategy. And that's kind of what I did. And I felt like I just saw myself in him watching him play. And that's what these games are all
Oh,
about. You like
sweet.
see yourself in the people, and that's what you learn to hold on to. So that's kind of what happened. And then once the show wrapped, I had to reach out to him. I was like, hey, I love you. I love what you stood for on television. I love how you played the game. I'm just saying hi because I would love to know you, is kind of how it happened. But I loved him on the game. I thought he was genius, masterful.
And little did he know, he opened the door and I was like, I'm a fan of yours. And then now we've become friends. So
I love
Yeah,
that.
That's
so cute.
basically exactly how we hooked you in, Lee.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Who isn't a fan of Lee?
Oh, thanks. Oh,
It's true.
gosh. Hey,
Except for me when we're competing against each other.
That is yes.
yeah, I'm going to win.
Oh,
Please.
we'll see.
Please.
We'll
you
see.
And
know,
then I
chance.
have masterfully just postponed and postponed and postponed this jewelry challenge that we were gonna do
Masterfully.
from
Yeah.
the start of Big Brother 24, that Lee and Garrett will be competing in against each other, not because we've been so busy and it gets backburnered before we get to it, but specifically so that we can continue the weekly trash talk between Garrett and Lee, so it can just get feistier. And
Okay,
build
number
more and more
one,
fire.
I have way more real estate. I have a big old face, so I can get a lot more jewelry on my face. I'm gonna win, please. I'm winning. But hey, before we go on, is your brother, is your dad and cousin still doing their podcast? Can we do are they doing that still?
Yes, it's the three of us actually. It's
Oh,
me,
you're on
it's,
it. Do a shout out
yeah,
for it, for sure.
it's so we have a podcast. It's a family podcast. We talk about reality TV also. It's called Real Talk, spelled real and then TAWK, because it's three Staten Island accents just jabbing and fighting with each other. And yeah, it's super fun. We love it. Honestly, we just love hanging out together. That's like what it's really all about.
I
But-
understand that.
That's sort
Yeah,
of this group, to be
That's
honest.
yeah. That's what keeps us
Right.
going.
Can't imagine what that would be
but
like.
it's really fun. So check it out if you're up for it. Real Talk. If you're looking for
That's
another
amazing.
reality in addition to this.
Hey, please consume. You know,
Yeah.
it's all
My
good.
mind is already flowing right now with the Twitter spaces and Instagram lives that we could all fire up at the same time, watch a show together, catch up
That'd be
every
so
now
fun.
and then. I think that could be a blast.
Pretty
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, pretty
that sounds
fun.
great.
What
Well,
else are
it's-
you doing, Tommy? Give us sort of the rundown. I know we got more show, but I want to get it in the middle so everybody can hear about it.
I do so many things. I'm like a jack of all trades at this point. I work with a pharmaceutical company. I do we do campaigns to promote the medicine that I take with them. So that's one thing. I work social media for the best restaurants on Staten Island, 3 restaurants. I work at my own social media, creating content, the podcast. I'm like the whatever person that handles everything. And I'm still an actor, and it's just Broadway's just really tough right now. I did 2 Broadway shows before Big Brother, and then Broadway shut down. And even though Broadway's back open, it is even more competitive than it ever was. No one's leaving those jobs because they didn't have jobs for 2 years. So
Right.
they're still trying to stock up the bank account. But hopefully once people hopefully there's like more of a turnover soon and I can get back in a Broadway show. But until then, I'm good. I'm just having fun. I'm traveling a bunch and making it work. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite place you've traveled?
Oh my goodness. I loved Key West. There's something about I love Europe. Like I only went there twice, but there's something about traveling in the US that really like appeals to me. And I feel like there's so many beautiful places in our country that I would love to see still. But I went to Key West this past year and I thought it was so cool. I thought it was great. We were at the southernmost tip of the United States. You could see, I forget what's past on the other side of the water, but you could see like the other thing that wasn't our country, whatever it was.
Is it Cuba?
I think it's Cuba.
Cuba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
Cuba.
so you saw
Something like that.
Cuba. You can see Cuba from Florida. That's crazy.
Welcome
I
to
love
your
the cues.
geography portion of the show.
Wait till you get to see Alaska.
Newark, New Jersey, the happiest
Yeah, right.
place in the world.
According to Alyssa.
Yeah.
This is
Alyssa.
specifically for Alyssa, her geography lesson.
Yeah. What'd she
I'll
say?
be-
London, France, or something
Yeah, oh
like
my
that?
God.
That was so cute. It was so
Oh,
cute.
that Alyssa. Oh, she was
Yeah.
great. Love her.
She was so cute. She
Yeah.
was so cute.
That was a me thing too. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
So this podcast for Emma, Garrett, and I has been completely new territory for us because it's interacting with the people that have been on the shows that we watch on TV. Obviously, it started with Lee coming on our Agents of Fandom podcast to talk about the Loki show, but for us, it was when we start after Lee, we chatted with Delisa and Trevor and Jack and
James.
Shelly, Michelle
Mhm.
from the Circle. But James specifically is one that I want to talk about now because something very funny happened this past week that I noticed where Daniel from this episode of Big Brother 24 posted a tweet in this last week, and he was like, there's so many of you who clearly have no idea what it's like to be on a reality TV show. And then and that's like, that brings up a good point because we've always been in the sphere of like, oh, we got our Twitter fingers. This person said this stupid thing. I hate them. I can't believe it. We've always been closer to that side, right? Then we meet all of these people and how nice they are. And so he had that tweet. And then James, who our friend who we've had on this podcast, winner of season 3 of The Circle, he quotes that tweet and posts right on top of it, I know exactly what it's like to be on a reality TV show, and I still thought you were trash.
Oh, jeez, James.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that was pretty good.
I'm gonna confess to you, Tommy. So we did sort of a draft when we
Mhm.
started this, and
Yep.
in my 4 that I picked at the beginning was Daniel, Nicole, Terrence, and who was the other one that I had? I don't remember.
Oh.
Mine went out
Kyle,
fast.
you forgot
Oh, yeah.
Kyle.
Oh
Interesting.
yeah, I had Kyle too. Because I was really, at first impression, I was like, I like, the older guy. I like the energy, and yeah, mine all crashed and burned.
Tommy's face there when you named your list was the most
Yeah.
polite and like, I'm gonna do my
know.
best to be like, you tried.
They're definitely the 4 most controversial people from this season.
No.
But here's what I will say, and this might just be this is kind of just who I am, but I really do try to see the good in everybody, and I have had nothing but great talks with I only spoke with Nicole and Daniel afterwards, and not even in depth, but actually I spoke with Daniel kind of in depth because he listens to my podcast, Real Talk. I had been talking with him for a while before he went on the show. I didn't know he was going to be on it, but then once his name was announced, I was like, wait a second, Daniel, I know him. And then I went back to our messages, and sure enough, we had been corresponding back and forth for years.
Wow.
Wow.
But Daniel's a good guy. He made mistakes for sure. A lot of mistakes. That's fair to say. He made a lot of mistakes. He also has his own perspective, like his own things that were going on. And that's not my place to speak on, but what I will say is that like there's always 3 sides to a story.
Agreed.
There's always more to the story than people know. And I feel like even with Big Brother, you see the live feeds 24/7. That's all the time when people come out, they say, we watched you on the feeds 24/7. We know exactly who you are and what you did.
Yeah.
But
You did.
I know people hate to hear this, but the truth is the feeds are always not always on. They
Right.
only show 2 rooms at a time. And the third most important thing, Lee, you and I say we're in the Big Brother house. We're having a conversation. And I say to you, oh my God, me and you, we're going after Emma. That's it. Me and you, we got this. We're going after Emma, right?
We
say
would too, Emma,
chance,
just
let's
so you
pivot
know,
and
we
go after
would.
Garrett.
Okay, Emma.
That's fair.
Sorry, Emma.
That's
Then,
okay.
then I go back to Garrett and I say, oh my gosh, Lee wants to go after Emma, but we got to protect her. What are we going to do about this?
Right.
I said out loud both like ends
Yeah.
of the spectrum. Which one is true? So sometimes you're lying. Sometimes you're not saying the truth. So you might see someone say something, but they might be flat out lying and you don't know if they're lying because you're not in their head. So it's
Right.
very, and then sometimes me and you could have that conversation, Lee, and then the conversation that I have with Garrett is not shown.
Right.
So and listen, granted, that's not me making an excuse for anybody. Like people do mess up. Can I curse or no? Are we not
Yeah,
cursing?
of
I
course.
won't even do it, but people do messed up things on the show. Like there's sometimes things are just point blank messed up. But a lot of times they're coming from a place. And if you were to meet them in real life, you would think that they were a really nice person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So-
agree with you. My experience is very similar because I tried, and I say similar, 99 days. I'm like, oh my God, but anyway, ours was a month. But it's like it's 24/7, and you're going to, none of us are perfect all the time. We're going to step in it sometimes, and so and you're living with total strangers that you just meet, and you're playing a game, and you're building relationships, but you're also playing a game. You have an agenda. That's why it's so funny, because I remember when you got your message from home and you cried and everything, and and Steven said when I was going to the circle, said, whatever you do, don't cry if you make it far enough to get the message from home. But it's hard to explain. You're so emotional because you're on there's no downtime at all, none. And so I'm for it.
Your emotions are all over the place, all over. You're 100% right. Like, whereas reading a letter from someone that I love, like, might not make me cry in the real world, but when you're locked away and the ups and the downs and the deception and the constant paranoia, then when you get that letter, it just makes you for a second crumble and let your guard down, and you're just reminded of feeling safe is essentially what it is.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
To your little taste of home.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
So for us, reality TV is kind of like it's the home guilty pleasure, sit back, relax, finally turn off and get to watch. Lee and Tommy, for you guys, obviously I'm sure that when you're watching something else, but it's a bit different because it hits a little closer to home because you've been there. And I'm assuming it's not just sit back and turn the brain off. You're watching with that perspective of, I've been on this show, I understand what it's like. And so there's a little bit more to it. What for you, Tommy, are your kind of guilty pleasure, sit back and relax TV shows, whether it's reality TV or just in general? What are you watching?
I like scary shows for sure. So, The Watcher came out. I watched that. I'm very excited for American Horror Story. I watched Dahmer. So I like scary shows for sure.
That is so out of character. I would not have thought that.
Yeah, I love scary stuff.
I love it.
But my other guilty pleasure is reality TV, 100%. I watch everything. I love Love is Blind, Survivor,
Yes.
Amazing Race, Big Brother, The Challenge, The Circle, The Mole, Dancing with the
Oh,
Stars.
the mole. Oh my God.
The Mole is
That was
amazing.
that. Once we were finished our main conversations, the mole was something I was about to bring up because I haven't watched it yet, but it just popped up like on the top of my Netflix today, and so I think this is going to be something we're going to have to prioritize.
It's
I
great.
started it today. I'm loving it so far.
Oh my God. Sorry,
so-
I interrupted. Keep going.
No.
Going. Do you
No,
watch
it's so
Dancing with
good.
the Stars? Do you watch that as a dancer? Okay.
Yes, I'm an episode behind, but I love
That's
Dancing with the Stars.
Beautiful this year. Beautiful. I love it.
So beautiful. I completely agree. It's literally beautiful. I know that it's just like a fun family dancing show, but I actually think it's so beautiful. And I feel like there's so many times that I watch the episode and I wind up crying. I'm like,
Me too.
it's a Monday night. Like, please,
I
please,
swear,
baby.
you're my
So-
younger self.
I can't help but take this time to plug an idea. We're all like we all love this stuff, right? And so idea one is I had a like I don't think we're gonna have time in this episode because we still got more things we want to talk about, and we're already at 45 minutes. But to do some kind of game or some type of draft, but that's something we usually love to do, especially when we have guests on. And so I was thinking it could be really, really damn fun if the seven of us, four and the three of you, have a reality TV show draft.
Ooh.
So all the shows are in a pool, and we
Okay,
get to draft our favorites.
There's a
and
big
people
pool.
vote on it and stuff
That
like
is a
that.
big-
But there's seven of us, right? It's a big pool, but there's seven of us. So our survivors, our big brothers, etc., they're getting picked off in the first round. But when we get to the end, like we're gonna have to scrape the barrel and find some
Snag your
niche
bling
ones that we-
empires and your below
Yeah,
decks.
like we're getting our personal niche favorites in there. So I think that would be a hell of a good time.
Tommy, a little known fact. TJ is a pretty successful at fantasy sports and has competed in fantasy sports. So that's why he's suggesting this.
Yes,
At
he has
that
the
point, that is-
advantage.
At that point, that is my day job, and to be fair, I also have ADHD, so like I'm constantly going a bunch of different places. And as soon as you said
And-
horror,
To be fair, he only got third in our Big Brother draft, so or technically second because
That's
Emma and I
true.
tied for first. So it's not that dangerous. We beat him
Yeah, well,
every now and
what
then.
I think we can handle it.
what I make up for in my draft abilities, I lack in this crew. I'm probably the most lacking in reality TV knowledge, so I need to make up for it somehow in with my drafting abilities. But the other thing I just wanted to throw out there is like this is something I've learned throughout my time podcasting, and I was guilty of it again today. And it's the same thing I find when I coach. I coach my nephew's basketball team, and I always view it before I start when it's just something in the calendar. It's I got to do this today. It's another thing on the plate. It's work. And then as soon as we get here, as soon as it starts, it's, oh my God, I love my friends. I'm so happy I get to be here talking with them. And so we all got such busy schedules. We're all, but we're also all watching this stuff anyways. I think we need to make a conscious effort of like trying to talk to each other more as we're watching it, link up, do some lives. Lee and Tommy specifically, I can tell how much you guys love each other. I'm
I
going to
do
make it
love
my concerted duty to get you guys to link up a little more.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's very true. Any chance that I get to link up with Lee, I'm happy. So
I feel the same.
sounds good to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same.
you're amazing. You're amazing. Hey, before I want one more thing, and then I want Garrett to ask you a very, very difficult question. So Garrett, be thinking about that. My question is,
We don't
What's
have
your-
it written down, by the way. This
I
is
know,
just Garrett's
I just
current
threw it
task.
to him. I'm trying to throw him under the bus because we do have a jewelry competition. So the more I keep him on his toes, the better. The question I have is, I get this a lot. People say, "Hey, what do I do to get on a reality TV show?" What do you say to that?
I guess I would say persistence because that was my experience. But I also know that I saw Brittany from this season of Big Brother, Brittany Hoops. She posted that she tried out like 8 times, I think, for Big Brother before she got on. She was also a super fan. And I'm just like, that might be the ticket. That like, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Like
Mhm.
that mentality, I think, is what worked for me, and I think it's worked for a bunch of other people. If it's your dream, you got to be willing to fight for it. You got to
Love
put
it.
the work.
Love
That's
it.
it.
And the answer to how to do
Absolutely.
well in a reality TV show, I texted our little group chat like halfway through this conversation. I was like, hey, at the 30-minute mark, let's make sure to clip this because that was great. When you said, find the part that makes you unique.
I love it.
And make it your part of your strategy. And I think that
Yep.
kind of is the way to do well in these shows. I think that's the way to do well in anything, really, is kind of figure out where yours what makes you you meets the world or the game's greatest need, and go shoot your shots, try again.
Yeah.
These
Yep.
are these can be taken and applied not just in reality TV but in real life too.
All right. Everybody's going to mute their mics. Garrett is up, except for Tommy and Garrett. Hit him with that question. Go.
All right, Tommy, I don't know if you're ready for this. This is a bit existential, but
I'm ready.
in the word scent, is the S silent or is the C silent? You asked for a hard question.
That is a really interesting question.
Oh, I apologize on so
Huh.
many fronts.
Me too.
Anyone in the chat have any
You
ideas?
just broke
Tom?
them. You just broke them.
You broke Tommy. You broke Tommy.
I'm gonna leave now. You guys can finish the rest of this, right? I'm crying.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know if there is an answer.
I'm a talker. Nothing ever gets me like tripped up. I truly am at a loss for words right now. I don't know. Because you have SCNT is sent something, then you have CENT is the money,
Huh.
but then SCNT, what is that?
Science. SC.
That hurts my brain.
I don't know.
See?
Same
Ryan,
thing. Yeah.
Ryan in the chat says scent has no meaning to me anymore.
Yeah, that word is it's done.
I've broken everybody, and I so
Yeah.
apologize.
Thanks a lot, Garrett.
Typical Garrett.
You can never break me. I talk to you too often. I'm Garrett immune at this point. So because, Tommy, you said you were a horror fan, I do want to give the Agents of Fandom a quick plug as well, because even though we started out as a little group of three of me, Garrett, and Ruben, who's behind the scenes here doing a Marvel podcast, we kind of have expanded to a TV and film website. We now got a crew of 27, I believe, amazing creators. These four included, and we've recently been doing a lot more work with horror projects. Agent Jade is our horror lead, and she's been doing a ton of stuff with that. But also just yesterday, and as we record this, and it'll be coming tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th, we will be dropping our interview on the podcast feeds, Agents of Fandom, wherever you get your podcast, with the Newton brothers. I always say Newport because I'm watching I'm rewatching Parks and Recreation right now. Bobby
That's
Newport.
weird.
Oh yeah,
There it
that's.
is.
Oh,
And
look
that
at
shirt
that.
right
Look
there.
at that.
Yeah,
I
so
was like,
it's-
where have I
it's-
seen that word?
It's not my fault. It's there. The Newton brothers, who have scored all of Mike Flanagan's horror projects, from Dr. Sleep to everything. So because they're going to be doing X-Men 97, they've done The Grudge, Dr. Sleep, Walking Dead, The Forever Purge, Midnight Mass, a bunch of great stuff. So
Preferred it when you just said Dr. Sleep and everything.
And
yeah, he did everything.
Yeah. Now, Tommy, when we say goodbye, hang on, because I have a couple more things off air I want to ask you. But let's just go around because we're getting close to the top of the hour. Everybody, you get one question. Garrett, do better. Do better.
Do better. That's the best one I have, man.
I have
I'm
a
always
question.
Go.
What's your favorite Broadway show?
Okay.
Newsies, because he's in it. Newsies.
I
That's
can't.
fair.
I again, I'm a talker at this point. You know this.
Just
I
broke
love
me.
Moulin Rouge. Moulin
Cool.
Rouge. I've seen it 3 times, and
Okay.
I would see it over and over and over and over and over again. The dancing is insane. The music is insane. The costumes. It is the perfect Broadway show, like the perfect Broadway blockbuster. With that said, I have seen Wicked over 30, actually over 40 times at this
Wicked's
point.
My favorite. Yeah.
And
Jealous.
Wicked, and it still is just as magical when I see it now as when I saw it probably the second time. And I also love the show A Chorus Line too. A
Mhm.
Chorus Line is super special to me, and I just love that show. So those are three favorite.
And there's
Very
probably
great
more
choices.
too, yeah,
It-
great.
it's a bucket list thing for me now to see Tick Tick Boom performed
I'd love to see
live
that.
somewhere, because like it's not particularly my genre, but it's not either. Like I'm kind of like right in the middle. My mom and I went to a bunch of Broadway plays when we went to New York together, and it's kind of like I'm kind of right in the middle. But Tick Tick Boom is one of my all-time favorite movies. I watched it again this morning. I was sending videos to a group chat with Emma in it today of me singing it, and then I got an email today too that I'm hopefully going to be getting a chance to interview Robin DeJesus in a couple weeks as well.
Awesome.
And so just like the coincidental timing of all of that, getting to see Michael from Tick Tick Boom right after watching Tick Tick Boom and raving about it. But that's a bucket list thing for me now, because that movie was life-changing for me. I just adore it.
Oh, that's so nice.
I can confirm I visited him for his wedding, and he sang it like a lot, like just randomly. He would just, we were like playing Mario Kart, and he would just bust out into song, which I loved, by the way. This is not a dig at all.
I do that a lot.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
loved
common.
it. That was
I would've
something I learned
sang,
about
but-
TJ.
Yeah, I would have sang it, but I didn't want to do that to anyone in the group
I sent
chat
Emma
earlier.
like 5 full minutes of video footage of me singing from Tick Tick Boom to Encanto today.
It was great.
I
It's my
love
dream
it.
to see. I have yet to see a Broadway show in New York, and I live 3 hours away from New York. So
Oh.
I need to. I've seen a lot of shows in Baltimore and other places, but not New York, and I need it to happen. So Wicked is on my list. Hamilton, obviously, I feel like that's on everyone's bucket list. So one of these
You know
days, I will
what?
do it.
Go see Moulin Rouge. I'm telling
I'm
you,
gonna do that.
it is a great first Broadway show to see
Okay.
because the score is all. I know we're running out of time, but it's an amazing show. You got to go see
Okay.
it. It's great.
I
It's
absolutely
the
will.
Broadway blockbuster that you're looking for, that you want to be your first show.
We
Great.
don't
Well, I'm
really
definitely taking
have
that
a time
advice.
limit. Like we're trying to be conscious of you. We're all
Yeah.
probably trying to be conscious of each other's
Yeah.
schedules.
Yeah.
But like it's
Yeah.
not like this is a Zoom that's gonna cut us off at the 60-minute
Yeah.
mark.
Okay, Garrett,
Yeah.
what's your next literary question?
Oh, I
Before we do go, so we don't risk Tommy's
Okay.
brain being broken before he gets to plug his stuff one more time. I've mixed in all my Agents of Fandom plugs. We got to
Good.
make sure Tommy gets a chance to do the same. So
Yeah.
where can the people find your podcast once again, and then where can they follow you on socials?
At Tommy Bracco is my name, and that's where you can find my stuff. And Real Talk or Real Talk Pod on Instagram, and is my podcast.
Love it.
That's it.
Heck
Love
yes, I will make sure to hit the follow button
Me
on that
too.
one after
Yeah,
this. And
thank you.
Me too.
before I pass it off
I'll do it right now.
back to Lee, so you guys can have one more last second catch up before we get out of here. Thanks so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure to meet you. You are fantastic. I definitely hope we
I
can,
told
do
you.
it
I
again
told you
sometime.
guys.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. You're right.
Yeah.
You're rarely
Garrett,
wrong, and this wasn't this except for drafts, but you were definitely right about this.
Jeez. Garrett, please, one question. Go.
All right. In lieu of one question, I'm going to state a little known fact about me,
Oh.
because it
Oh,
is
Wow.
sort of relevant to the topic. But I actually did musical theater for like 7 years as a child.
Wow.
I did
So-
not know that.
I did
Not
not
many
know
people
that.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Amazing.
I starred as little Jake in Annie Get Your Gun, so I was kind of a big deal at one point in time, but you know.
Nice.
I love
That is
that.
very impressive. For
No.
anyone that
That
knows
means a lot
anything-
coming from you.
And you know what I'll say is that it's never too late, if Garrett, if you want to get back into it. There were some boys in Newsies that hadn't started dancing until they were in college, and they'd only been dancing for like 3 years, and then they were on Broadway. So, you know,
I
you
think
work
if
hard
I had the
enough-
coaching, I could dance, but the voice got lost when I hit puberty. That's just a no-go.
I'll
But you
say
know what?
we
Good
dance.
mime.
Let's make it happen.
But you know what? It's funny. You know, we talked about being successful on a reality show is turning your personality, who you are, what makes you unique, into a strategy. Similar to theater, It's learning what makes you different, what makes you unique and special, and highlighting that when you walk into an audition room and incorporating it into the characters that you play. You have a fantastic voice. Like, I'm sitting here
Thank
right
you.
now, I'm like, I could listen to him talk all day long. Your speaking voice is so great, and it's so different, and it's
Lord help me.
it-
Sorry, go ahead.
He's mine now, Lee.
I love it. So I'm like, yes, this is so good.
Oh man,
That means the world to me.
If you have a dream, Garrett, you gotta go for it.
I love this.
Agents
Tommy,
of
Can we
Fandom
have-
podcast, you can hear Garrett's voice every single week.
That is true.
Wow. I've been trying to tear him down because I'm trying to, mind for this jewelry thing, and you just built him up. Thanks a lot, Tommy.
I don't know what I just did here. I'm sorry.
No, I love you. I
That
love
meant
you.
a lot.
It's amazing. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. You mean the world to me, and Steven and I got to get up there and see you guys again, and hang out. Or you need to come to Texas. Hey, I know it's far, but come on. Let's get. It's been
love that.
it's been a year since we've been in real life, so let's make it happen. But
I would love
thank
that.
you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for being on Ticket to Reality. Make some comments, share it, help us out. We're gonna have more guests for you, but we're gonna say bye for now. Bye.